Well, there's something going on behind the scenes. I wish I could explain it. I wish I knew it better myself. I think there's some personal interest. Somebody's getting paid off. There's something bad going on behind the scenes, you know?
3 minutes ago, a revelation shook the quiet world of mountain men. A man who once stood behind the camera, capturing every sweat-drenched frame of Eustace Conway's life, has finally broken his silence. And what he revealed was nothing short of chilling. For years, fans of the History Channel series believed they knew Eustace, the wild-bearded frontiersman who built his world out of the raw wilderness, the man who hunted, chopped, built, and thrived without the luxuries of modern life. But the cameraman's confession paints a very different picture, one that no one expected. "I thought I was filming a survival show," the cameraman began, his voice cracking with unease. "But by the time I left Turtle Island, I realized I was documenting something else entirely, something I can't even explain." His name isn't being released publicly, but those familiar with the production know exactly who he is. For nearly 5 seasons, he followed Eustace across every inch of that North Carolina wilderness. He lived there, ate there, and, according to him, barely made it out with his sanity intact. He described the first few weeks as exhilarating. Eustace was intense but fascinating. He moved through the woods like he belonged there. The man could build a cabin with his bare hands, track animals just by reading the wind, and live without fear of the cold. It was inspiring, at first. But soon the energy changed. There were moments when we'd be filming, and he'd just stop. He'd look into the trees, quiet, like he heard something none of us could. The forest would go silent. Every time that happened, I felt this pressure, like the woods were holding their breath. The cameraman's breaking point came after months of strange events, missing footage, eerie sounds, and warnings from locals that the mountain doesn't forget. Turtle Island Preserve wasn't just a location. It was a living, breathing organism. The crew said it spoke in its own way. Whispers through the trees, groans from the soil, and the sensation that something unseen was watching them. He recalled one evening when they were setting up a night shot near an old barn. It was dead quiet. Then Eustace froze. He said, "We stop here, no further." He pointed toward the woods and told us, "That's not our place." The cameraman laughed nervously back then, assuming it was folklore. But later that night, while checking his footage, he noticed movement behind Eustace, something that wasn't supposed to be there. "It wasn't an animal," he said softly. "Whatever it was, it moved like a person, but slower. It was watching us, and when I rewound the footage, it was gone." Over the months, the crew started noticing Eustace disappearing at odd hours. He'd vanish into the forest without his tools or lantern and return just before sunrise, dirt on his hands and something ancient in his eyes. One night, the cameraman decided to follow him, breaking one of the unspoken rules. I waited until everyone was asleep. He went out barefoot, carrying only a wooden staff. I followed from a distance. That's when I saw the fire. Deep within the trees, Eustace had built a small circle of stones. Flames danced low, casting strange shadows across carved symbols etched into the earth. I saw him kneel and speak, the cameraman said. Not in English. It was rhythmic, like chanting. He looked up at the sky and said something I'll never forget. The old ones don't sleep. They just wait. The cameraman ran back, shaken, pretending he'd seen nothing. The next morning, Eustace acted as though the night had never happened. But the crew started feeling uneasy. It wasn't just the sounds, it was how the animals behaved. We'd go days without hearing a single bird, then suddenly the forest would explode with noise. It felt like the place had moods. Several members of the production team reportedly quit mid-season. One wrote in his resignation email, "There's something wrong with that mountain." When the cameraman brought up what he'd seen to the producers, they told him to delete the footage and forget about it. They said it didn't fit the show's tone, but that wasn't the reason. I think they were scared too. Still, fragments of that night survived. Audio files, blurry stills, nothing conclusive, but enough to suggest something had been captured that no one wanted to explain. In one recording, you can hear Eustace whispering under his breath. The cameraman swears that behind his voice, there's another sound, something deep, guttural, not human. He tried to brush it off as an echo until a local told him that the area Eustace built Turtle Island on wasn't ordinary ground. Old burial land, the man said. Native tribes wouldn't step foot there after dark. They said the earth remembers what's buried inside it. Over time, Eustace's demeanor changed. The friendly, approachable mountain man transformed into someone distant and guarded. He'd talk less and spend more time alone. Sometimes he'd say things like, "Nature gives, but it also tests, and it always takes back." The cameraman said that by season 4, Eustace stopped allowing them to film certain parts of the property entirely. He said, "Some things aren't meant to be seen by people with screens." When asked what he meant, Eustace simply smiled. One afternoon, while cataloging old footage, the cameraman stumbled across a file labeled only "Do Not Edit." It was an uncut clip of Eustace walking into a fog-covered glade. He was talking to someone, but there was no one there. And then he turned toward the camera like he knew I was watching and said, "You shouldn't be here." When the cameraman checked the file again the next day, it was gone. The external drive had been wiped clean. Production continued, but the atmosphere grew unbearable. Crew members reported insomnia, vivid nightmares, and an overwhelming sense of dread. "It got to the point where we didn't even talk about it," he said. "You could feel the tension, like the air itself was thick." The breaking point came one night when an assistant cameraman went missing for nearly 3 hours. When he was found, he was sitting by the creek, staring blankly. He couldn't explain what happened, only muttered, "It called me." After that, production wrapped early. The History Channel made no public statement about why. For years, fans speculated it was due to scheduling conflicts or creative differences. But now, with the cameraman's confession, another possibility emerges: that something truly unexplainable happened on that land. "I tried to move on," the cameraman said, "but I couldn't sleep. I'd hear the same sounds again, the ones from that night in the woods. Sometimes, even in my apartment, I swear I could smell the smoke." He claims to have developed unexplained health problems afterward. Nausea, fatigue, strange skin rashes. Doctors couldn't find a cause. He finally decided to speak out after finding an old micro SD card hidden inside one of his old camera cases. It was footage I never meant to find again, but it was there, like someone wanted me to see it. The clip, which has not been publicly released, allegedly shows a figure standing beside Eustace in the woods. It wasn't another crew member. It wasn't even shaped like a man. When journalists reached out to the History Channel for comment, the network replied only with 2 words: "No comment." Attempts to contact Eustace himself were met with silence. His official social media pages remain active but cryptic. Photos of trees, the moon, firelight, and one post from 2 days ago with no caption, just a single symbol drawn in the dirt. Online, the story has exploded. Some call it a hoax, others a cover-up. Reddit threads, YouTube analyses, and podcasts are dissecting every frame of old Mountain Men episodes, searching for clues of what might have been hidden. Some fans claim to hear low-frequency tones in certain scenes, sounds that weren't noticed before. Others insist they've spotted shadows moving in the background that don't match the light source. Experts have weighed in, too. Psychologists suggest the cameraman may have experienced wilderness-induced psychosis, a rare condition caused by prolonged isolation. Anthropologists, however, note that ancient folklore across the Appalachian Mountains speaks of keepers of the woods, entities tied to sacred ground. Still, none of them can explain the missing footage or the strange recordings. The cameraman ended his interview with a warning: "Don't go there trying to find proof. The mountain doesn't want to be proven. It wants to be left alone." In the days since his statement, more former crew members have come forward anonymously, confirming the atmosphere on set was tense and spiritually heavy. One even claimed he saw Eustace talking to the trees as if they were old friends. Whether these accounts are exaggerations or fragments of truth remains unclear. But what is undeniable is the fear in the voices of those who were there. There's something deeply unsettling about a man so connected to nature that he might have touched something far older and darker than we understand. The cameraman says he hasn't returned to Turtle Island since. But sometimes, he admitted, I dream about it. I see Eustace standing by that fire, looking right at me. And behind him, in the shadows, something's moving. He paused before finishing his confession. People think Eustace conquered the wilderness, but maybe it was the other way around. Now, as millions revisit old episodes with new eyes, the question remains, what was really happening when the cameras were rolling, and what was left unseen when they stopped? One thing is certain, Eustace Conway has yet to deny a word of it, and somewhere, deep in the Carolina woods, the fire still burns. They say Turtle Island goes silent at night now. Locals whisper that the land feels heavier, that the air hangs differently over the trees. Some claim to see a dim orange glow from the ridgeline, just beyond where the camera crews were never allowed to film. It flickers and vanishes like a breath being held. The cameraman insists he never meant to start rumors. I didn't do this for attention, he said. I did it because the truth was rotting inside me. I needed to get it out before it consumed me completely. When he tried to hand over his recovered footage to a journalist, the files became corrupted. The images turned into static, and the audio warped into an unrecognizable hum. It's like the forest doesn't want to be shown, he muttered. People who've watched the show since its debut have started piecing together moments that now seem strange. In one early episode, Eustace pauses mid-conversation and stares into the distance. He mutters a single word under his breath, something producers edited out in later broadcasts. In another scene, a raven lands on his shoulder, and he whispers to it like it understands him. Those who visited Turtle Island describe feeling unwelcome after sunset. One visitor wrote online, "You hear rustling behind you, but when you turn, there's nothing there. It's not animals. It's something aware." The cameraman believes Eustace was protecting something, not summoning it. He respected whatever lived in that land. I think the rituals, the symbols, they were ways to keep it calm, to keep it asleep. But something changed when the show began airing. The land that had thrived in solitude was suddenly exposed to millions of eyes, millions of screens. The cameraman thinks the attention itself was a disruption, a kind of spiritual noise that woke something ancient. After he left the show, he tried rebuilding his life. He shot commercials, documentaries, anything that would keep him busy. Yet nothing felt right. Every camera lens reminded him of the woods. Every shadow behind a tree made him shiver. He said the dream started again last winter. I'd wake up hearing a voice. Not words, just tone. Low, old, patient. He described one dream where he was back at Turtle Island. Eustace stood by the fire, motionless, and something vast moved behind him. When I woke up, my hands were covered in dirt, he whispered. Investigators have attempted to visit Turtle Island since the interview, but access is limited. The preserve is private property, guarded by high fences and signs that read, "Respect the land. Do not enter." Neighbors say they still see Eustace occasionally, wandering near the tree line, carrying the same staff he used for decades. "He looks older," one man said. "Not tired, just older, like he's lived more years than he should have." One of the strangest developments came when a Reddit user claimed to have found coordinates hidden in the metadata of an old Mountain Men promotional image. The coordinates pointed to a location deep within Turtle Island that's not shown on any maps. When satellite images were checked, the area appeared blurred, as if censored. Theories exploded overnight. Some believe it's an old burial site. Others say it's a hidden structure, possibly Eustace's original cabin, long since reclaimed by the forest. The cameraman, when shown the coordinates, refused to comment. "I know what's there," he said, "and it should stay buried." He also revealed that the missing crew member who vanished during filming never returned to work in television. He moved across the country, changed his name. Last I heard, he doesn't even own a phone. Says technology carries echoes. The cameraman laughed when he mentioned it, but his eyes were hollow. Maybe he's the smart one, he added. Historians have since begun digging into the deeper origins of the land Eustace lives on. Early survey documents describe stone alignments and unidentified carvings. A 19th century journal from a nearby town mentions fire circles seen on misty nights, accompanied by chants that rose from the ground like breath. Some wonder whether Eustace, knowingly or not, tapped into those same forces. Perhaps his lifelong connection with nature was more than skill. It was communion. People who've spent time with him off camera describe him as deeply spiritual, sometimes cryptic. One former apprentice recalled a night around the campfire when Eustace said, "We think we live on the land, but the truth is, it lives through us." As more details surface, fans are torn. Some insist this is sensationalism, exploiting an eccentric man's lifestyle. Others believe the cameraman's account connects too many hidden dots to ignore. What complicates matters further is that every attempt to contact Eustace for clarification has failed. Even his closest associates won't comment. "He's focused on the land," one former student said simply. "He doesn't deal with gossip." But the cameraman insists it's not gossip. It's warning. There's something on that mountain that shouldn't be disturbed. The more people dig, the louder it wakes. When asked what he meant by it, he didn't answer. Instead, he looked into the camera, silent for a long time, before finally whispering, "You'll hear it too, if you listen long enough." In the weeks following his confession, strange things began happening online. The interview video was taken down from its original host. Re-uploads were flagged for technical violations. Forums discussing the incident suddenly vanished or were archived without explanation. Those who saved copies of the footage say that around the 20-minute mark, a distorted frame flashes for less than a second, a shape resembling a human figure with hollow eyes. Experts call it compression error. Others aren't so sure. A small podcast managed to interview the cameraman again, asking him directly if he believed Eustace was dangerous. "No," he said, "not dangerous. Just different. He sees things the rest of us can't, and maybe that's why he survived where others didn't." The host asked if he'd ever go back to Turtle Island. He shook his head. "I couldn't even if I wanted to. Some doors, once opened, stay open." Those words resonated across social media. Within hours, #TurtleIslandSecrets began trending, drawing millions of curious viewers back to Mountain Men episodes they'd long forgotten. In episode after episode, they searched for hidden meanings. Eustace pausing mid-sentence, the camera shaking, audio glitches that now seemed intentional. Fans created slowed-down analyses, convinced that messages were embedded in the sound. Whether coincidence or not, power outages reportedly hit parts of Boone, North Carolina, the nearest town to the preserve, during one of the largest live streams dissecting the footage. Conspiracy or not, the fear spread. The cameraman stopped giving interviews after that. His last message to a producer friend was a text that read, "If they ask about the woods, tell them I'm gone." No one has heard from him since. His phone is disconnected, and his apartment was found empty except for a single camera tripod and a note that read, "Don't film the fire." Meanwhile, Eustace continues to live quietly at Turtle Island. Occasional sightings show him repairing fences, chopping wood, or teaching a handful of visitors about sustainability. To the casual eye, everything looks normal. But for those who've heard the stories, normal doesn't mean safe. Last week, a drone hobbyist tried flying over Turtle Island to get aerial footage. The drone lost connection mid-flight. When the owner retrieved the SD card from the recovered wreckage, it contained a single corrupted image, a glowing circle in the woods, surrounded by what looked like figures. Experts called it lens flare. Others called it proof. Still, Eustace hasn't spoken a word publicly. His silence only deepens the mystery. Fans wonder if he's protecting himself or protecting everyone else. Deep in the heart of those mountains, the trees whisper in ways cameras can't capture. The earth holds stories older than memory, and those who try to expose them often end up disappearing into them. Perhaps that's what the cameraman was trying to tell us all along, that some truths are too wild to be tamed, too ancient to be televised, and too alive to stay buried. Somewhere tonight, the fire burns again in the woods of Turtle Island, unseen and unrecorded, casting its glow across a man who once taught the world how to live with nature. Now perhaps nature has claimed him back. In the weeks following the cameraman's disappearance, the story only grew darker. Rumors spread that local authorities had quietly visited Turtle Island after receiving multiple anonymous tips about disturbances late at night, chanting, drumming, and lights moving through the trees. When reporters called the sheriff's office, they refused to confirm or deny anything. One deputy simply said, "We're not going up there unless we have to." Then, a strange post appeared on a social media account that fans believe belongs to Eustace. It was a single image, the outline of a deer skull resting on a moss-covered rock. Beneath it were 4 words: "Respect the old ways." No context, no caption, no replies. The post vanished 2 hours later, but not before screenshots spread across the internet. People who've been to Turtle Island describe the same feeling of unease, the same sense that the forest watches back. A hiker who trespassed near the outer boundaries claimed she found symbols carved into the trees, spirals, crescents, and marks that looked like ancient runes. When she returned the next day with a friend, the carvings were gone. The cameraman's footage, now the center of thousands of conspiracy threads, remains unseen by the public. Every attempt to leak it ends the same way. The files either vanish or degrade into static. Those who claim to have viewed fragments say the most haunting part isn't what's visible, but what's heard. Faint voices overlapping Eustace's speech, whispering in an unknown language. Some say the whispers call his name. Others say they repeat the phrase, "Return what was taken." Whether that's truth or imagination, no one knows. Historians digging into old Appalachian records uncovered a legend that predates the founding of the surrounding towns. It tells of a keeper of the green flame, a solitary man who lived in the forest and spoke with the spirits of the land. The tale ends abruptly, with the warning that when outsiders attempt to record the keeper, the eye will turn inward, and the forest will reclaim what is hers. That line now circulates across forums like prophecy. Some believe Eustace Conway is the latest in a line of keepers, chosen or cursed, to preserve the boundary between man and nature. In Boone, local businesses near Turtle Island have started selling Turtle Island protection charms, small bags of herbs and stones said to ward off the spirits that linger there. Most laugh it off as marketing. Yet, when the wind cuts through those mountains at night, even the most skeptical keep their doors shut tight. One of the few remaining crew members, speaking under anonymity, revealed something few knew. Eustace told us once that cameras steal more than images. He said they steal silence. Maybe he was right. According to this source, there was one scene never meant to be filmed. Eustace building what looked like a wooden gate deep in the forest. He worked all night, hammering, chanting under his breath. When they asked what it was for, he smiled and said, "It's not a gate to keep things out, it's to keep something in." That footage was supposedly destroyed after network executives intervened, but fragments survive. Frames showing the shape of the gate and a faint glow behind it, like firelight from another world. Today, the gate's location is unknown. Visitors say the area where it once stood is dense with overgrowth, as if nature itself is hiding it. The cameraman's voice lingers in online recordings, repeating the same warning: don't film the fire. And maybe that's the truth of it. Maybe some fires aren't meant to be seen, only felt. Because deep within those Carolina woods, where technology fades and silence reigns, the man once called a mountain hero still walks between worlds. Whether he's protecting us from the land or the land from us, no one can say. What remains is the echo of his legacy, a reminder that the wild isn't something to conquer. It's something ancient, alive, and waiting. And on nights when the wind carries the scent of wood smoke through the valley, people swear they can hear it. The steady beat of a hammer, the whisper of a voice calling to the trees, and the low murmur of the mountain itself, remembering the man who dared to listen.